My name is Sajida Garay. I'm from Oakland, California. My mom's side is Catholic and my dad's side is Iglesia Ni Cristo, which is a sect of Christianity that was founded in the Philippines. So I was, since a young age, I went to Catholic, Sunday school and Mass. I first got baptized in the Catholic Church, but I remember asking questions. Once I asked in Sunday school, I asked the teacher, if Jesus is Lord and Mary is his mother, isn't she, I think I said something like, isn't she like greater or better? And she like sort of told me to be quiet. And so I felt like it was never, I wasn't satisfied. And so when I was in 5th grade, middle school, I was really searching. I was like doing some soul searching. And I started learning more about my dad's religion. And to me, it made sense. They don't have like the Santo Niños, what's called like idols. And so I started learning more about it. And I actually got baptized in middle school. But I didn't really feel comfortable because they require all of their members to have name tags, and they know that you attend the church if you attend and you flip over your name tag. And so I felt like it was overwhelming, overbearing, and so I stopped going. When I stopped going, they started calling my mom's house, and my mom was Catholic. And so she was open to it, but, she was like, why are they calling? And then they actually sent a group of men to our house from the church. And so to me, I was like sort of turned off by that. And I just kept, I was just searching, because I feel like we go through so many struggles in life, and you're just longing for a source that can help you spiritually. And so my brother actually became non-denominational, what he considers non-denominational Christian. And for me, like, I really loved the peace that he had and just going to the church. And in high school, I met some Muslim friends, and we got along in in pretty much every topic. But I just remember, them mentioning politics, like Palestine, Israel. And my family, my Catholic family, for whatever reason, they used to watch, like sermons on TV, and they would watch even like the extreme ones, like Pat Robertson. So they were like, they were pro Israel, and they didn't even know why. And so for me, when I would talk to my Muslim friends, I would be like, yeah, no, like I was on Israel's side. And so I had a friend, Mexican brother who, from high school, he converted to Islam, and I saw a picture of him on social media, and he had a keffiyeh, and I was joking with him. I said, the last time I checked, you were Muslim, not Saudi Arabian. And kindly, he said, I can teach you more about the religion. It's not what you think. Islam. I was Christian too. A lot of Christians claim to follow Jesus, but they don't follow his teachings. And that really set me off. Like, that triggered and angered me. And he was like, no, it's not what you think. here, I can connect you with some people, you can learn about Islam, and you can decide for yourself. So I actually went to meet up with his friends, and I had the intention of actually trying to learn about Islam to falsify its teachings, and I actually ended up taking Shahadah. And that's when my journey began. And at first I didn't really know the difference between Sunni and Shia, but I think I was Sunni because I was around Sunnis. And then I just let my friends from high school who were Muslim know, like, hey, I just became Muslim, I want to learn more about the religion. And so I had, out of like my majority Sunni friends who were all very sweet, I had one friend who was Shia, and she said, hey, you can come, to our masjid. And she started, teaching me about Shiism. And, I had friends that were Sunni who were saying, you shouldn't go there. They recite the du'as that Ali recites, or they pray, they have a different Quran, like just different things. And so I wanted to see for myself. When I visited a masjid here in the Bay Area in Hayward, it's called Fatimiyya. Wow, like the akhlaq of the people that were there, it was like unparalleled, to anything that I had ever, experienced. They were like, they really showed me a lot of love. They took me in. They, we're still friends to this day. Their patience, their kindness, their warmth. It's like I don't have sisterhood, that like that. The struggles in life growing up in an urban area, and just not really understanding. Now that I'm older, I realize, wow, the trauma that a lot of people go through in this country, but also our story is that I'm a first generation Filipino, Filipino convert. And my family came here from a war-torn country. And so the dynamics of that, I never fully understood, like how traumatic it was, that the trauma, it was sort of passed down. Like my grandfather was actually in the Bataan death march in the Philippines, where he like witnessed his friends die, like Japan invaded because it was, the US was there. So then they come to this country and they're trying to navigate like systems that they're not really familiar with. And so it, not to go into detail, but it's challenging when there's not really, and I come from a culture where, in the Filipino culture before, it's like, it's not really, they don't really discuss a lot of the issues. Like if you try to address any like mental health or, any of that, it's like stigmatized, I feel like. And so I felt like, wow, no, there's something, there's something that, I need to seek. And I found that in Islam. Like there's no, there's no peace, like, like when I'm praying, when I'm doing all of my wajibat, there's no peace like that I've ever felt. And I feel like in Filipino culture specifically, it's not just Catholicism that my family has. I feel like there's also elements of like things that are not even Christian that are sort of like, I feel like they, how can I say this? They connect to energies that are not really good. Like they have like idols, for example. I think it's called a Black Nazareno, the one of the idols that they have. And I just feel like, for me personally, it doesn't it's not good spiritually to worship anything other than Allah. So like if you have, you have a creator, you don't worship the creation. And so that to me was like, it was spiritually conflicting, knowing the peace that it brings, knowing that there's a greater cause bigger than myself, the discipline that it teaches you. Like, for example, many of us have cultures where like women and men gossip. Like, who teaches you that it's not good to gossip? Like, for many people, like gossiping is just like second nature, like people, we all fall into that, right? But to have a religion that actually teaches like riba, and slander, these are things that affect your soul. And I'm not perfect in any way, but to have that guidance, to know that if you want to learn and if you want to, if you want to better yourself, Islam has all the answers, pretty much. One of my favorite stories is of Imam Ali, alayhi salam, and how when he was fighting someone and the guy spit in his face, he could have killed the guy right then and there, but he didn't do it because, oh, I'm gonna cry. He didn't do it because had he killed him right then and there, it would have been for his own nafs and not for the sake of Allah. So for me, like, that is like that is like impeccable. Like, and that's been my struggle, because I've also, as a youth growing up in an urban area, it's like there's, and I think pretty much anywhere, people have anger issues, people have like, egos and all of that. And so when you hear that, when I heard that story, I was like, man, okay, let me think. Is it, am I doing this for my own nafs? Am I about to say something for my own nafs? Not that I'm perfect, I'm nowhere near perfect, but to at least have that as my like guiding light, their akhlaq is so beautiful. And to know that like women have rights, like Lady Zainab, she was out doing work, it's not, there's a huge misconception of Muslims and their roles, but it's multifaceted and everybody has a role to play, and it's not just one type of sunnah. There's many different ways, and we all play a part. To know that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he did not bow to tyranny. He was martyred. That is a huge, victory for one's soul. Like, how many people when they are pressured by unwanted forces, how many people cave? To reach that, I feel like it's a goal that it's a goal that one should try to attain, no matter what the circumstance. Like, you can sort of like relay that, you know what I'm saying? Like, use that as an example. When I first heard that, I was just like, wow, this is beautiful, to really live and die for the sake of Islam. I want to say that is what has pushed me to take action in my community with the little things that I do. I'm not, I'm busy, I work full time, I have a family, but I am engaged in community. So the service that I've done, I know that it was heavily influenced by learning about Ahlul Bayt. I think that, to take them as an example, to know, because just because they were oppressed, they didn't oppress others. So I feel like that's something that we all, can learn from, and that if studying their mannerisms, and I'm, I feel like I'm the last to be speaking on this, but I feel like it's a great example for me to try and at least strive for. you know, if you learn about how they maneuvered through society, you know, like, because you're struggling, you know, don't hurt others or don't oppress others, is really key, I think. And then working collectively, working, you know, fi sabilillah. I feel like, you know, it would help them want to learn more. You know, if they wanted to study about Ahlul Bayt, I feel like it would help them realize their purpose, because I feel like I love my people, I love the Filipino community, but we Filipinos have a tendency to assimilate and not even understand why. Like, why are we partaking in this tradition that wasn't originally ours? You know, why are we joining the military? Why are we, you know, it's like, if you actually study what's wrong and what's right, who's on the right side of history and who's actually fighting for, you know, the oppressed, I feel like that would really help my community, because unfortunately I feel like the Filipino community does perpetuate the harm that's done to, you know, Muslim countries and other countries abroad. Like, for example, I have relatives that fought, you know, mind you, my country was colonized by Spain, Japan, and the US. And instead of recognizing that, I feel like a lot of Filipinos, instead of recognizing that and saying, hey, no, we were colonized, we didn't appreciate that, Filipinos then here in the US went to fight in Vietnam, you know, and so we perpetuate the harm that causes, you know, the need for people to come here, to flee their countries. I really, you know, I admire all of them, mashallah. I think Imam Ali alayhi salam has the most impact on me, because I've read the most, you know, ahadith about him, and just his mannerisms, just everything, like all the stories that you hear about him, like how once when someone came to him and he had 2 candles, and someone came to him and asked him a personal question, so he blew out the candle because it was, you know, that was purchased with the people's money, and then he had his own personal candle to light, you know, to light up the room with his personal conversation. So how just he was, and patient, you know, and so for me it's really helped, you know, when I'm angry, not all the time, and I can't even say most of the time, but a lot of the times when I've been angry, I've been able to hold my tongue and say to myself, like, hey, are you really doing this based on, you know, because you're right, or are you saying this because of your own nafs, because you're angry?